Hi, this is Dave and welcome to the Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games, looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at this new project from Epic Scale Games called Pixel Guardians. Now this is a card game of action point and hand management in which you take on the role of a guardian defending your kingdom against an invasion of these different dragons. You're going to have to be competing against the other players to be the #1 guardian. Let's take a look at how this game is played and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Alright, let's take a look at the components that come in Pixel Guardians, and this is a prototype version of the game, so it does not reflect the final product here. There's going to be 2 decks of cards that come in the game. First, there's going to be a 64 card dragon deck here that's going to be made up of various segments to make up a dragon. So we have our head section, we have a body section, and we have our tail sections, and they're going to be in various colors. We've got blue sections, green, red, yellow, and rainbow. And they are going to be used to construct dragons that we're going to defeat. There's also a couple of cards in here. We have this Summoner here and the Fireball card here, which are going to wreak havoc on the Guardians. And I will get more into that during the gameplay. Then there's also going to be this Guardian deck here, which is going to be made up of a number of different types of cards here that are going to allow you to attack the dragon. And there's other cards here such as Trump or Chains or Treasure cards that are going to allow you to manipulate the battlefield to give you an advantage over the other defenders. There's also going to be these Guardian markers here. There's going to be 10 in each color for the 4 different players that this game can accommodate. Alright, let me get this game set up and I'll show you how to play. Okay, to get this game set up, it's really easy. What you're going to do is you're going to shuffle up the 2 different decks here. We've got the Dragon deck and the Guardian deck, and what we will do is we will deal 3 Dragon cards face up onto the table, and we'll sort them in the various colors. And if they are the same color, then we will work on building them together. So you can see here I have 2 segments for a red dragon here. I've got a tail section here and a body section. Let's take a look at these cards up close here. And this happens to be a body segment of the green dragons, noted here, and it's going to be worth 1 point, and this gem here in the middle is the corresponding type of attack that the Guardians are going to have to use to defeat this section of the dragon. So you're looking for a green gem here. Now, there are going to be some cards that are in the deck. For example, this one right here, that's going to be worth more. This is going to be worth 2 points, and that's because there is a villager in peril in here. So as we're building these dragons, you're going to want to be going after these segments to get the most points. Next, you're going to be dealt these 3 Guardian cards face down. And there's going to be a hand limit of 6 cards during the game, where you're only going to be able to, at the end of your turn, only be holding 6 cards. So you could actually draw more during the game. And so you have these particular cards here that will be like an attack card here that has this, it's used to attack a blue section here, and it costs 1 action point to use. We've got some other cards here, like this Trump card, which will be used to basically take over a space that one of the other Guardians has placed on a dragon, be able to place your own chips there. So how this game works is that on each player's turn, they will be given 2 action points to use. Now during your turn, you can use, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip over a card from the dragon deck. We'll flip it over and reveal it, and this is a blue dragon here. So there are no blue dragons being built, so we will place that on the table. Next, each player will have 2 action points that they can use to either play cards from their hand or draw cards from either the dragon deck or the Guardian deck. To draw a card from either of these decks cost 1 action point, and then different cards in your hand will cost however many action points are listed here. So let's see what we'll do here. The yellow player here will go first. They'll use their 2 action points. We'll flip over 1 card here from the dragon, and we will reveal this head right here. And maybe we'll flip another one over, see if we can get some dragons built. And here's a green one with a head here. Now what's going to happen is we're going to continue to build these dragons over the course of a turn. Let me just accelerate things here to show you what's going to happen. We have a yellow dragon up here with a villager in peril. Let me slide this down here in the middle so that you can see that a little bit easier. We have another yellow section here. Another yellow section. So this is going to be here's a red section here. So as you can see, these dragons, they can vary in size. Now here we happen to have a complete dragon here. And a complete dragon consists of a head section, at least 1 body section, and 1 tail section. Once a dragon is complete, the guardians are able to attack it. So that part of this, the gameplay here is you're going to want to get these dragons built so that you can attack them. Now, how you attack the dragons is going to be playing on the various cards that are in your hand. So on your turn, for example, here, you can use 1 action point to do this blue attack. And what I would do here, for example, here, is on this red dragon, it takes a blue attack, and it's worth 2 points. I would discard this card, and I would take one of my guardian markers, and I would place it on that particular section to know that I have attacked it. Next thing that's going to happen here is over the course of the game, you're going to have the various players are going to be doing attacking and trying to damage these different sections of the dragon until the dragon is defeated. Once a dragon has been defeated, what's going to happen is each player is then going to take the corresponding sections that they had damaged, and they're going to place them in front of them to calculate their score. So for example here, the yellow player happened to get the head and the tail, and the red player managed to get the 2 body sections. So this is going to continue to go on here until we go through this whole dragon deck and be able to defeat all of the dragons. Now there are a couple of cards in this deck that are going to that are kind of special. Number 1, you've got these rainbow dragons that can be used anywhere. So I could fill it in here and it can count as a green dragon. Now if this comes up and it's happens to be a body section, it's the first one where you can build a dragon. You could put a green head on the one side, and you could add another like yellow section here. Now this is going to have a yellow tail at the end in order to build this. But that's how you can deal with these rainbow cards. So it's kind of a neat way to get things built here and get those dragons out there so you can attack. Now there's also some cards in here that I talked about before, and we've got this summoner card here. Now if the summoner card is flipped over, what's going to happen is you're going to have to continue drawing cards out here until you complete 1 dragon. So there could be the potential to have a lot of cards come out onto the table. And next there's going to be this fireball. Now this fireball is kind of nasty. When the fireball card comes out, what's going to happen is any cards out here that have any kind of guardian markers on any of the dragon heads are going to be removed from the game. So you've got a couple of little nasty things that are going to come through in this dragon deck here. Now in the Guardian deck, there's some cool cards here that you can play. Now they cost a couple of action points to do. Number 1, you've got this wild card here, and for 2 action points you can use this as any color gem to perform an attack. So this is kind of powerful, especially if there's maybe 1 section left on a dragon that you really want to get points for. You can use this. You can use this trump card for 2 action points, essentially to on a green attack you can place your token there and remove another player's guardian token. Now there's some other cards that are in here, for example this spell card, and this is very, very powerful, and for 2 action points you could play this and you'd be able to defeat an entire red dragon. So if there happens to be a long one that's out there, regardless of how many guardian markers are on there. If it's almost complete, would be kind of a great way to use this card and kind of screw over some of the other players and sweep it out from under them. You place this and you would remove all those guardian markers and you would score the entire red dragon. So there's ones for each of the colored dragons in the game. There's also a couple of things here that you can use. This treasure card here, you can use this to, if you play this, regardless of how many guardian markers are on there, what you'd be able to do is choose one and you would essentially lure this dragon out of play. You'd take all of the dragon cards here and put them in the dragon discard pile, so nobody would be able to score those points. So what a great way to, maybe there's a higher point value dragon out here that you can play that on to avoid other players from getting stuff. But you can counter that by playing this chains card here that also costs 2 action points. And what you can do is you can play this on a dragon, you can chain it to the battlefield so it won't be lured away by treasure. So these are the various different types of cards and how they work. This play is going to continue going through and building these dragons and attacking them until all of the dragon cards have been played through from the dragon deck. So if this becomes exhausted, you will just continue working on trying to defeat these different sections until this invasion has been over, and then at the end what you will do is you will calculate and tally up your total number of points. Whoever has the most points is the winner, and that is Pixel Guardians. Alright, that's Pixel Guardians, and as you see from the artwork that it is 8-bit artwork, so very popular right now, and it's very, very colorful, so it's going to stand out on your tabletop. Now this game is a lighter type game, and it plays very quickly, but one of the things that stands out in this is that you only have 2 action points that you use during your turn, so you're going to have to make very, very wise decisions as how you're going to spend them. Are you going to use them to draw cards from your from either of the 2 decks, either the dragon deck trying to build the dragons, or are you going to draw from the guardian deck to build up your hand? But you have to realize that you can only hold 6 cards in your hand, so you're going to have to be mindful of that. Are you going to use your action points to play a simple attack card, or are you going to use both of your action points to play some of the more powerful cards, like maybe a treasure card or a trump card or chains, in an attempt to manipulate the battlefield and give you an advantage and kind of thwart some of your opponent's plans? So it's going to come down to how you're going to manage those points. And then on top of that is how you're going to manage your hand, because you have corresponding cards in your hand that are going to match up to perform various attacks on the different types of dragons. Now, one of the things that's pretty cool about this game is that as you're building the dragons on the board, they can be in varying lengths. So you can kind of hopefully get some cards and make a dragon that's really, really big, that's going to take a while to defeat, and it's going to kind of slow down your opponents as well as yourself. But the shorter dragons, you can try and get some quick points. So again, it's going to come down to how you're going to use some of your cards in your hand, because if you happen to build a really, really large dragon, you'd be able to use a treasure card to lure it away so your opponents can't get it, or you can just use a spell, defeat it, and take all the points. A couple other things in this this game is really the you've got this interactive nature in this game that that it's just not about trying to just build dragons and play them, but how you're going to use the higher power cards to kind of give yourself an advantage. Now you also have your opponents are going to be doing the same thing, so you've got this really, really interactive kind of quick playing game where you're trying to essentially stop this dragon invasion, but you're also trying to kind of stick it to your opponent. So you've got that little sub element that's going on. So overall, just a really quick playing, enjoyable game. Looking at this game from a family perspective, this is really going to come down to decision making skills in this, because with those 2 action points, you're really going to have to think about what you're going to do. So you kind of have a little bit of risk management in there. You know, I can use these points to do this, but then I'm kind of giving this up. or you're just going to kind of go all in and commit yourself. So there's going to really be some decision-making skills that are going to kind of come through this game, but in a fun way, because you're essentially trying to be the top defender. So that is Pixel Guardians. It's currently on Kickstarter right now. I will have the link in the video description below, so if this is something that interests you, you can go ahead and pledge your support and make this game a reality. Alright, that's it for now. Join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table.